Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Ryan. I was
How
waiting
are
for
you?
the 3, 2, 1, and I was like, I know it's coming.
Yeah, no problem. So our guest is on his way. So it'll be
Perfect.
just a moment. So
No worries at all.
technical difficulties as one does
Yeah,
on
it's
Monday
part
nights.
of the game, sir. Part of the game. I'm gonna move
That's
this a
right.
little bit.
That's right. We're not going to be talking about technical difficulty games. We're going to be talking about board games, which
It's always a good
yeah,
option.
yeah, the game chat. That's why we call it the game chat because board
All right.
games. So
My light is weird. Oh well.
your light's weird.
Yeah, it's got
Let's
like a
see.
half reflection thing going here.
I'm wearing a hat because do you want to see? Oh, that's good.
Oh, that's good. It's pretty.
Yeah, it's nice. It's nice.
It's good.
I could
like it.
stand it up if I wanted to. See? That's good.
It's a better
So,
look.
yeah, yeah. So anyway, that's why the
Well,
hat's on. And so
we can introduce our topic before our
yeah, we can
our
talk
guest
about our
gets here,
topic.
right?
So
Yeah.
yeah, we're almost at Valentine's Day. Do you know how I know it's Valentine's Day?
Tell me.
My son watched The Notebook just a couple minutes ago for the
Oh,
very first time, right over there in that room, and he cried.
by himself?
No, that would be
Oh.
weird with his girlfriend.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was gonna say,
Yeah. So
yeah, it's an emotional movie.
yeah. So he was. It was a rough one. So I felt bad for him. I just haven't watched it. So
You never seen it?
no.
Um,
I feel good about my life choice. So
I like a good rom-com, sappy movie. Not all the time. We just watched there's a new one with Reese Witherspoon and Ashton Kutcher.
Yeah,
Yeah, we just watched that. It was good. It was
it's
cute.
pretty good. Okay.
Nothing. It was very, it's that Hallmarky, predictable
Yeah.
story, but it was fun.
Yeah.
But it's not my. But we're not talking about love movies tonight.
No, we're not. Well, let me throw in. There is one that I actually watch of my own accord. There's a Christmas romantic comedy called Love Hard on Netflix. It's kind of goofy. It's about a person who gets catfished, and she's a journalist, and it's pretty good. I like how the story plays out. So if you've got to watch romantic comedy around Christmas time, Love Hard. That's a pretty good one. So
I've not seen it.
it's good. It's good. It's worth a watch. I've seen it twice now, and I have not regretted it either time. So
Fair enough.
yeah, if you want to tell us what your romantic comedy of choice is, throw it in the comments. We'll talk about games.
Perfect.
Move forward. So what's our topic?
So tonight, this is episode 44, which is 22 two times, which is 222, which is we're gonna be talking about games for two as
That's
we're
good.
lining up to Valentine's Day, Galentine's Day, Palentine's Day, whatever it is you're gonna celebrate. Being able to play a game with just one other person. So not necessarily like what game works it to, but 2-player specific games. Which I don't know about you. I started going through my collection. I've got some, but I don't have a ton.
I thought I had more than I have. So
yeah,
romantic comedies that are board games. I like that idea. Could we create? It sounds like a will it game topic.
Hardcore will it game topic.
Yeah. Could we make a romantic comedy board game? So I feel like it would be an interesting endeavor. So hopefully Mondo will be in here soon to help us with our conversation as we talk about gaming for two. And so
we can
our
opening.
Yeah. We'll talk about question. Absolutely.
Yeah,
so let's set the mood.
Yes, sir.
Candles going up.
Lights down.
Yeah, lights down. I don't have any controls.
I just turn.
Yeah,
it's actually
got
I like
controls over here.
I think that lighting better. I don't know.
That's nice. That's nice.
They're both fine.
So lights go down, and our wives are trying to romance us. And what is it that you would want on Valentine's Day?
What's an ideal Valentine's Day for me?
So Aaron, watch the live stream. So just letting her know. Give her
so for me personally, I like face-to-face time, right? So I enjoy playing board games with my wife. I enjoy being able to sit down and play some games. And I thought about food. Don't need a huge meal. I would
Mhm.
love to go to local bubble tea place and just
Yes.
get a good bubble tea. They have one called Purple Haze, my favorite.
Mhm.
It's a milk tea, but it's got UA. It's got the like UA like taro root.
Nice.
It's amazing. It's super good. So, couple bubble teas, quiet afternoon. That would be ideal.
We are on very similar pages. I went to a ramen restaurant last Sunday
Oh,
and had that exact thing. Oh, we've got a Mondo in here. So we're gonna we're gonna get him into the chat. Mondo, how are you doing?
hey, there he is.
Hey y'all.
What's going
What's
on,
up?
brother?
Man, your audio worked first time. You can hear us first time. This is like amazing. So
I've got a microphone.
Yeah, I know it
nice.
sounds great.
I probably
Yes.
need headphones, but
You know,
if you guys hear some feedback or something, let me know.
No, we don't
everything's
hear
good
any
so
feedback
far.
so far. It's good.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
So, Mondo, we're talking about our spouses are going to romance us. What is the perfect Valentine's Day gift setup? Look like Isaac just shared his board
Yep.
games and some bubble tea at the local
Yep.
bubble tea shop. And it's
Yep.
funny, the one that you picked, the bubble tea that you talked about, is the one that I had on
Yes.
Sunday when we
Good
went
stuff.
to the ramen restaurant. So, yeah.
Perfect.
So, what about you, Mondo?
Ideal Valentine's Day night.
So this is gonna be maybe not the answer you're looking for, but we are very anti Valentine's Day in this household.
Okay.
Which I might not be the best guest on the Valentine's Day live stream.
No, I think a little
No,
tension. It's
we
good.
try to like care for each other and express our appreciation for one another like throughout the year. So
Yeah.
yeah, like Valentine's Day isn't really something that we kind of spend a lot of effort on. Like for example, my wife made plans to hang out with one of her girlfriends tomorrow night, and
Nice.
like I didn't think twice about it. It was like,
Yeah,
all right,
yeah.
cool. It's Tuesday night.
Yeah.
But the heart of the question, I think that what she does for me when I like to to express her appreciation,
Yeah.
I think is she kind of gives me time to like not have to take care of the kids or
Okay.
clean or the thing that you do on a normal basis. Like we both kind of like just precious alone time of
Yeah.
playing games or doing stuff on the computer, like social media stuff or TikTok stuff or whatever. So
Nice.
that's a long answer.
That relaxing time, that downtime is nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Valentine's Day, even though Aaron and I met on Valentine's Day like 23 years ago, Valentine's Day is not very big for us. In fact, my wife walked in the door. She had to grab some groceries for tomorrow, and so she looked at me. She said, "Happy Valentine's Day." It was a box of Swiss cake rolls, and I said, "Those have to go in the freezer." And she was like, "I know." And so
okay.
that's like the ultimate act of love right there. But I think Isaac and I were on the same page because I would have to say board games and Korean food. For some reason, there's a local Korean restaurant near us, and we just enjoy taking our 2-player game and playing at the restaurant and just sitting there and eating some delicious food. So
just chill out. Perfect.
Yeah. Yep. So. And Adele, a diversity of opinions, especially around holidays. Yes, very much. So,
Hey, Adele.
Love it.
Yeah.
Adele.
So, what you got next for us, Isaac?
Our second question was: I'm a stats guy. Like I love BG stats. So, how often are you finding yourself playing 2-player, like only 2-player games, like just you and another person? Like, would you say it's
Actually, I can
mild,
look that up.
moderate? Yeah, I got the numbers, but like, how often would you say you're just doing mono games?
So do kids games count?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, it's just
when you find
and
your
one,
you and an opponent. Yeah.
Yeah, my I have a 5-year-old daughter, and part of our bedtime routine is playing a game together. So I play
Nice.
2-player games every single day.
I love it.
That's really cool.
If that counts. But yeah, usually like on game nights, there'll be one person that if they're a friend of mine, Robert, if he's hosting, I'll usually get there first. So we'll play like a little 2-player thing while we're waiting for everybody else to show up. That kind of situation. That happens fairly often, I think.
I'm trying to find. I think I found it. So last year, how many 2-player, just playing with one other person?
Yeah.
I played 186 games with just me and an opponent. So out of 600 and something.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
So
I think mine was like 230 out of 670. So about a third. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
Aaron is my number one opponent, and then of course, actually Bob is my second. So Bob Grohl is my second 2-player person.
So my number one is my wife. My number two, because I integrated whatchamacallit, the online
stats and stuff.
Beat Board Game Arena into it. Bob is also my number two because of that.
Wow. Okay. There we go.
But I play a lot of games with just my wife and I. My son and I play a lot like that as well. So
Adele's got a good question. Best at 2-player or only does 2 players? So this is interesting because at the end of the show, we're actually going to be talking about only 2-player games. So we're actually going to talk about some that play great at 2 players, but then at the end, we're actually going to give our list of 5 2-player only games.
Yep.
So that is a good distinction, though. So we've got some more stats. Jason, with 46% in the last 6 months, have been 2 players only.
Yep. Yeah, he's playing a lot with his wife. I think Becky is. Oh, there she is. Yeah, Splendor Duel.
Splendor Duel.
Super good. Super good. 2-player only for sure.
Yeah.
So what are the benefits, right? We all have opportunities to play with our spouse, right? So what are the benefits of playing with a spouse, a partner, of sitting down playing board games with them?
Jason brings in a very good question. We have not introduced Mondo very well.
This is my favorite question.
Yes.
Right here.
Mondo Davis. Who are you? You're a person that we know because of board games. I know you through Rick, and you guys got to know each other in an odd way because I think you invited him to a birthday party just because one of your birthday parties early on. Isn't that right? Because you live close to him?
I think I met him before that, but yeah, that was pretty early on.
Yeah, because I remember him telling me, I'm going to this guy's house and we're going to play games all day. And
I feel like we met up beforehand and just kind of chatted for a bit before that. But yeah, that was awesome. one of our first experiences.
Yeah. So you're a board game designer. What else do you do?
Yeah, so I'm Mondo Davis. I design board games, and I do TikTok. I've got a TikTok channel that's 45,000 and growing, which has been a lot of fun over the last couple of years.
Yeah, he's TikTok famous around here.
It's something like that. It's it's a weird little niche world over there. But yeah. So I'm a game designer. I like games. I hang out. I show up late to live streams. So.
We're going to talk about one of those games in a few minutes specifically. It's going to be making its way around. And Jason asked the question who he is. Jason's played one of Mondo's games recently when I brought it over to his house.
Nice.
So we'll talk about that game in a few. If I talk to myself while playing the game, does it count as 2-player?
Sure.
I'm gonna say no.
If you're running 2 hands of cards.
There you go.
Yeah.
So,
I simulate my own designs before playtesting stages where I do actually play as 2 players. So yeah, that would count. But
yeah. It's like a 2-player game. So
but yeah, so we were talking about benefits of playing with somebody else, not yourself talking to yourself, but playing with a spouse, a partner. Yeah. What have you found in your relationships that are beneficial with playing board games with somebody?
Mondo, you want to go first?
You can start. We always let the guest start. So
yeah.
Oh, that's kind.
Go for it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's a similar benefit of playing board games with anybody, right? Like kind of the shared experiences, like the moments of laughter or kind of exciting things that happen in a game, or then these experiences that you have, which obviously are crucial for development and building relationships. So that applies to people that you're meeting for the first time, and it applies to your spouse or partner or someone that you have a deeper relationship with. So I mean, I think about the most fun that we've had together often has been over a game. We're maybe playing something goofy and just laughing at each other and having a good time, laughing with each other together. And I think they're a great conducive medium for relationships developing at all. So specifically in that kind of deeper context.
I like the competitive nature that comes out when my wife and I play a game. Like that competitive side comes out in her, which is really fun, and we can joke about it, we can laugh about it, and it's really really just fun to watch. And then later you talk about it and you just have a good laugh about like the frustration of trying to outdo your opponent. So I play with my partner, but she's not my primary game buddy. Play a lot more with other people. Yeah, that's true. Like thankfully my wife loves games, but I know plenty of people that like their spouse, the person they live with, does not love games, and so like it's kind of a rarity sometimes to get a game on the table, or maybe it's a concession of like, I know my brother and sister-in-law. My sister-in-law loves playing games, and it was one of those things where she was like, I want a game night during the week, and so my brother actually jumped into it, and he really started enjoying it. So yeah,
it's awesome. Yeah, my wife and I mean, one of the first things I did when we were dating was teach her how to play Magic. I was super into Magic at the time. She had no knowledge, no interest, but we played all the classic, rolling moves and all that fun stuff with all of our friends. We'd have people over for, hang out, play games, and we still do that. I've been doing that with her for 3 decades, and the games have changed. But like you said, I'm really blessed to have a wife who loves to play games, and I can set a game down in front of her that I know she doesn't like, or I'm sorry, that she plays and doesn't like, and I'm okay with that because there's like hundreds of other games she'll play, right? It's like she doesn't like skirmish games. She doesn't like 1v1 skirmish, and I'm like, okay, cool. You don't have to play those, right? There's tons of other stuff we can get to the table. So.
Aaron won't play an escape room, so I know it's
and you don't need, and it's okay, right? Because she can whoop you at everything else. So.
Yeah, that's why I have kids. I make them play escape rooms. So I'm like, sit down, play this escape room with me. So we should. Cool Man wants us to pause the stream. Gotta pee. So,
take it to the bathroom. What?
We travel.
You're watching it on TV.
Hey, maybe they want to see us on a large screen. I mean, let's get the whole experience. So,
yikes. We kind of answered our next question of who you normally play with. We talked about wife, kids. Do we have anybody else that comes to mind? And those are kind of my normal 1v1 people.
I play when I go into the office. I go into the office once a week, and so mostly working from home, but go into the office once a week. And it was interesting. We usually have a couple people there that play games during our lunch break, but I actually brought in a couple games that play really well at 3 players. Ended up not having anybody but one other person, able to play, and so we played some games like Scout. Scout has a 2-player rule variant. And I was really surprised that it was pretty good. There was another. It changes it quite a bit. There was another game. Oh no, yeah, that was Scout. So it actually changes it as you're trying to outdo the other person, and then you take these. You only have so many tokens that you can utilize. So it changes the game pretty significantly, but it's not bad. I was actually surprised by that. So
nice.
So sometimes you get in that situation where you have to play a 2-player game,
That's very true.
Yeah.
So let's see. So what game we've got all these games that play up to 6 players, 8 players, whatever. what games play really well at 2 players. Whether it's a rule variant. I'll tell you one that I hate at 2 players. I actually sold it because of this. Alhambra. It uses a fake player mechanic, and
what's his name? He's got a name.
Chase Chad.
It's like one of the designers' names or something.
It starts with a C.
Yeah, I don't care for the.
But man,
mechanical.
I tried
player.
to do it twice. And I was like, "Well, I'm done. It's out." Yep. So, what game do you like that has a higher player count, but 2 players is a really good experience?
I know for me, it's King Domino. Because the drafting is the drafting is altered in 2 players, so you actually take 2 tiles per turn instead of 1 if in a 3 or 4 player game, which I think is like a whole nother strategic dimension, which is cool because usually 2 player rules don't change the game. For a lot of games it doesn't really change the actual turn mechanics.
Yeah, right.
So I prefer King Domino at 2 players than any other player count. So
that's a good point. I remember the first time Aaron and I played the 7x7 2-player variant. Yeah. I was like, man, this is so good. Like you strategize more, you kind of lay things out differently, and your scores are so much higher. I think you feel more accomplished in a 2-player game, whereas you kind of feel slighted in a 4-player game. You're like, I wish it could have been nicer.
Yeah, you just have less control. I like you get 2 choices instead of just 1.
Yeah,
sure.
I would say Buried Treasure. I brought it over here. Buried Treasure has a 2-player rule variant that I actually like a lot. It lays out Buried Treasure is kind of a little bit take that. You're pulling these pie cards off of the stack, and certain ones are covered up, so you're pulling them from the edge of the baker's rack. But in a 2-player game, you're sitting across from each other, and you only have access to the edge of the baker's rack that is facing you. And so you see all this cool stuff in the middle that you really want, but you can't get to it until you start pulling cards off of your side. And so Buried Treasure has a really great 2-player variant. And it's very, very competitive.
Such a fun game. Just super, super good. I was kind of perplexed. I started to think, what do my wife and I play the most? And her favorite game, I'm like 99% sure, Century Spice Road. And I like that at a 2-player game because I like the rhythm of it. Turn, and not feeling like that game has a speed to it at 2 players that is much different than at 4. Then I kind of thought, well, just about any abstract feels like that. I like Calico more at 2. I like Cascadia more. I like to be able to have my turn. I don't feel like I need 3 people taking turns before me with that. I like the speed of a 2-player abstract game. So those kind of are the window for me, I think.
One of the things that like a longer game that I enjoy, like Viticulture, I don't ever want to play it at 5 players, but I will 100% play it at 2 players every single time. I feel like you're building up your place. It's not player dependent, and so if you have 3 or 4 players, that's great. But the game moves so fast and it's so fluid at 2 players that I actually prefer it. Same thing with Castles of Burgundy.
What was rough at the big player count for us recently was Mosaic. We did it at 6, and that it was okay, I'm gonna go make a sandwich and then it'll be my turn again, and it was too much. We played it at 3. It was perfect. It had a quicker rhythm to it. So even though a game can play up to 6, doesn't mean it needs to play up to 6.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's fair.
So Mondo, you have a couple things that you've been working on, and so we want to talk about some of the projects that you've been working on and some of the games that you have in the pipeline. One of those is a game that we are actually, my review for Colorfield goes tomorrow. So
awesome.
But yeah, so Colorfield, tell us a little about Colorfield. Yeah, can we all 3 have a copy of Colorfield at once? Boom.
Hey, look at that.
Colorfield trifecta.
Trifecta.
Yes, Colorfield.
Yeah. Tell us
So
about it.
Colorfield's hitting Kickstarter soon, very soon. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to say when, but soon. We'll say that.
Soonish, yes.
It's a tile layer abstract about making paintings. So you're trying to create a painting by putting tiles down on a board, essentially matching colors of the tiles with the different tiles or the edge of the canvas that they touch. It's a fun little quick one. I think it's been cool seeing some videos out and people, reacting to it because it's been pretty well received just by the previewers that we've sent it to. So we're very excited to get that. Oh yeah, there's the artwork. Which the artwork, speaking of spouses, is done by my wife, Peach Benitez, who made the artwork for my kind of original prototype when it was in the pitching stage, and Chad at 25th Century Games signed. Okay, we can say it. February 24th.
Wow, there we go.
There it is.
I never got the okay to say that, but February 21st is
the
launch of our Kickstarter. But yeah, my wife's original artwork is on the final in the final
That's
game.
so cool.
So we're excited for that to get out there too.
That's awesome.
Yeah, look at that.
Do that. I love this. I love this piece. Like, and I love the choice, right? Like, I just want simple, or I can do this. Like, it just aesthetically, I love the game. It looks pretty on the table. So we kind of talk about the process with this, right? Like, how did you, because I've had a chance, like how I met you was at the cons through our mutual friends, right? Through Derek, through these guys, One Board Family. And I've had a chance to play a couple of your prototypes. So kind of talk through, like, how did this one kind of, like, what inspired you? How did it see the light of day?
This is actually pretty, like, monumental design for me. I had been designing for like almost 4 years before this game had gotten signed, and this was my first game that was ever signed under contract. But the whole story is that I was playing Teotihuacan at a convention in like 2018. And it was the first time I played a game, and as a designer, like, saw through the theme and the scoring and everything, just to like the basic turn mechanics of the game. Which, you haven't played that game, it's you have dice and you're moving them around action spaces and you're trying to increase the value, which increases the strength of the actions that you take. It's a really brilliant game. But it was the first time I saw that. I saw, like, oh, this is what game design is you're trying to make these mechanics that are engaging, and then you can build something around it that's really interesting. So after I played that, I went home and I said, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna make a mechanic that is engaging and fun, and like, that's going to be my focus, instead of like, I'm going to make a game about X. It's like, no, I'm going to make this mechanic and put colors on cards and numbers, and within a few days I had kind of the beginnings of Color Field that I then built out and eventually entered into a contest at Geek Way to the West, which is a convention in St. Louis, where it took second place, which was really exciting, and then took that momentum and started pitching to publishers and got connected with Chad, and he loved it and signed it within a few weeks of me showing it to him. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, it's a very near and dear design for me, for sure.
I remember a couple of years ago you showing, I think it was 2019, you showed us Color Field in one of its earlier states. And I just remember thinking, I loved the color choices. I loved the way that your brain had to think about how everything fits together. And then as the game has evolved, seeing it in this final form as a prototype, a fully fleshed out prototype, it's so cool. Because one of the things you'll read about in my preview that goes out tomorrow is that my daughter absolutely fell in love with it. So we're all sitting around the table, and my daughter is one of these people that she'll pick up the box before we start playing. She'll look at it. She'll be like, okay, is that really the amount of time that it's going to take? But when it comes to an art-based game, I can get her to the table a little easier. Yeah. So I bought her Modern Art, the card game, a couple of years ago, and she really enjoyed that one. So when we sat down with Color Field, it absolutely clicked for her, and she just beat the pants off of us. Like, we're all sitting there trying to score points, and she's just like, she's double digits right away, and then she's outscoring us every single round. And I'm like,
awesome.
How are you getting this when you don't like games? And she's like, I like this one. So
That's
yeah,
amazing.
it was really cool. So it was really cool
That's
to see
great.
that. So
Great to hear.
Yeah, we've had a chance to show it to a handful, of our local game groups. It's been very well received. All three in this trifecta that Chad's got coming out have all been well received. I think Becky made a comment here a few back. She said her brain loves color fields. It like you could see it was gelling for her. Probably similar with your daughter, right? Like, this is a game. This is a game for me. Like, I really enjoy this. And same thing, beat us all fairly. I was looking at my app and like I got 8 plays of it logged. She still got the top score. So it resonates, and it aesthetically, right? It's clean. And the fact that I can teach this, which we talked to last week or 2 weeks ago, Ryan and I did, about teaching with Micah, right? And like I can teach
with Jonah.
I'm sorry, my fault, with Jonah. I can teach this quick. I can teach this even if I haven't taught it in a while, because it's like it makes sense when I put it out. It's not like what the heck? What does this do? It's paint, right? It all aesthetically looks good, but it also flows well, right? Which is, man, people are crushed on time, and you got a game that cuts those corners. Like you said, your daughter's looking at that corner going, is this really gonna take this
she's
long?
like, is it really 20 to 45 minutes? I'm like, no, it really is. And she's like, okay, I'll try. And then she's like, I love this. This is good. I like it. Yeah.
Love it.
I definitely appreciate that. I think I think that I'm proud of that aspect of it, but it is very like it harkens back to kind of my design ethos and philosophy that I tell people, because I do this board game design TikTok thing, so I interact with a lot of new designers, and kind of the point I try to hammer home is like, hey, strong mechanics make good games. Like you can have a game that has a really interesting theme, and it can be a very bad game. But if you have a game that is very strong mechanically, it's a good game, whether the theme's good or not. Now, that doesn't mean it'll be successful or whatever, but like, I think that as a designer focusing on that, and like, I'm grateful that I kind of had the sequence that I had to come up with a system that I think works the way that it does in this one. But it really does emphasize like, hey, like, look at your mechanics, even if that's not where you start, like look at your mechanics, and shore those up and make sure those work and make sense and are intuitive, and all these things that people say about good games. So
for sure,
I do appreciate that though.
You actually have a second game that we're going to talk about tonight. You did this with one of our previous guests, for Tessa. For Tessa was on in December, and so she did our holiday rundown episode before Christmas time. And so tell us about mansplaining.
Yeah, I'd be happy to.
Erin, so I actually have not played mansplaining, but Erin has played mansplaining. She played this at Origins last year with a group of people. I think, did you teach it? Was Erin with you?
I think like Derek and Lizzie and I forget who else was in that group, but there was a handful. Oh, Isaac, were you with us?
I was watching that one. I did see it get played, but I haven't played it with them yet.
Yeah. Tell us about mansplaining.
Yeah, so this is a party game. Where players are mansplaining topics. So I describe it as reverse taboo, where in taboo you have a word that you're trying to get your team to guess, and you have words that you can't say. Whereas here you have a topic that you're trying to mansplain, with words that you that you want to say, that you need to say. And ideally, the idea is that those words are all unrelated to your topic. So you might be describing like how to mow the lawn, and you have to use like the word sausage or the word excommunicate or something like random kind of complicated words, which has a really fun effect, because you have to, first of all, think creatively of like, how do I squeeze this word into this explanation? And what ends up happening usually is you have to give this very like verbose, kind of overwrought explanation of like a very simple thing. So it's a lot of fun, because it's people just going off on like this very detailed explanation of something, and it just feels kind of thematic, and it feels like mansplaining. So it's been a really fun one to show around, and we're very excited about this. This one's actually not doing Kickstarter. It's headed straight to retail on March 1st.
Oh wow. Okay, awesome.
But some of y'all, if you're going to Tantrum Con, Breaking Games is hosting Tournameal, which has just been posted on the Tantrum Con website. And they're giving away like 12 of these or something before it hits
Nice.
retail stores. So if anybody
Very
is
cool.
available for that, highly recommend it because it's a pretty good chance you might be able to come home with one.
Nice. Some just a box quote here. I was shocked at how much I enjoyed mansplaining. It is such a fun, creative, almost storytelling experience. Such a hoot.
Awesome.
That is
Put that in the
awesome.
credits.
There you go.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Very cool. Yeah, that's one that I'm going to have to play at Tantrum Con because I did not get to play it. Erin really enjoyed her time with it, so I'm going to have to play it next time we see you.
Have to work our way through that.
Yep.
Chad's got a color field comment there.
Color Field, even though some minor things changed in the game, the core of Color Field was solid and never was modified during development. Yeah, so it feels like it was such a solid game. That's always interesting to see what things change with time. I know.
Right.
What was it? Kohaku was changed from a what was it? A planting. They were planting pumpkins or something like that. That was originally the theme of. But with something with an abstract, there's not really a theme to go off of. So it's got to have solid mechanics from day one. So
yeah, love it.
When you're talking about just colors.
So tonight we're talking about in the Game Chat Presents Pick 5. We're talking about 2-player games. So not games that are good for 2 players, but games that are only made for 2 players. And so we're doing a 5 of each category, not necessarily the best 5, not even the top 5 for each of us, but 5 we'd recommend to maybe grab for Valentine's, Galentine's, Palentine's, what have you day to play with somebody you love. So Mondo, if you'd like, start us off with one of those 5.
Yeah. So I enjoy very much Fox in the Forest, which is an only 2-player game. It's pretty straightforward trick taking, but the different suits have different actions on them, which I really like. So it's like a pretty interesting system that we have a lot of fun with. So that's my first one.
Nice.
Love it.
I played the original Fox in the Forest, I remember when I played that one, it was actually Rick. He gave me the box. He was like, "You and Aaron are sitting outside the doors at Origins. Here, play this." And we learned how to play it outside the doors at Origins while we were waiting to get in the year that it was released. It had a really good time with it. Great artwork. Really enjoyed it. Yeah. My first one will be the smallest game on my list, a little game that we carry in our pocket called Control from Keymaster Games. This is actually the very first game that Keymaster ever came out with, and it is a 2-player only game. You can play it with 2 teams of 2, but you're ultimately trying to get 21 points, and there are card abilities that basically can do things like exterminate a card or double a card's power or block something. And so it's got this really cool system where you've got these bronze and silver colors that have different meanings, ultimately trying to get to 21 points to get out of the black hole or the rift. So
love it. We get a few people dropping their ideas in, and that totally reminds me. I forgot about Canopy. I'm embarrassed.
Canopy is so good
because it's such a fun mechanic for a 2-player game. But yeah, great. Throw them in if you guys have some in mind.
Yep.
I'm going to start with a re-implementation of a game that should have been better, and was a great 2-player game, and that's Seastead from WizKids. This is their follow-up to Flotilla. It exists in the Flotilla universe.
You told me about this a while back.
It's got a fun push-pull to it. I really enjoyed this. It's got a lot of the same art and theme that Flotilla does. And it again, we talk about that like it says 30 minutes. It's a 30-minute game, but it's got enough decision-making in it that feels like you can't let somebody get too far in one direction, which some other good 2-player games share. And that one's got a solid development in the world of Flotilla. So Seastead.
Nice. Awesome. I'm gonna say Shobu.
Yeah,
Shobu is really good.
Which is over there. But
I don't own a copy of Shobu, but thankfully it's on Sovereignty, and it's a game that I can play digitally.
Yeah, mine's on the shelf. I didn't grab it, but yeah, I mean, I think like it's a good, barrier of entry is a big thing. I try to, I try to give people. I look for opportunities to bring people into the hobby. That's what I'm trying to say. So games that make sense from like I've played checkers, I've played chess standpoint are really great. So I really enjoy those like themeless, abstract games like that because they're accessible. And even if you got to learn a new rule set, like I don't know, I think it's just a good entry level game that I really enjoy. And that rope is like so helpful.
Yeah. It is a beautiful game. It's one of those games that easy to put on a table and just let it be and play it as you are hanging out with people. So, speaking about that chess kind of concept, Santorini. It's a game that continues to stay in our collection because it's a game that's so easy to teach. It's very limited in what you can do, and it's such a tricky thing to master. Santorini's really fun. It's a game that my son loved playing and then ended up teaching some of his friends, and him and his friends would play, and he would get out Santorini and just put it on the table when a friend would come over. And I loved seeing that as he became a teenager, and that was his game of choice for a while. So
is that it's 2-player only?
2-player only. Yeah. You can, I think you can play 4-player. Can you play 4 players?
That's 2 to 4, bud.
I think it's
Is
2
it
to
2
4.
to 4? Oh.
And Ryan
Okay.
gets
It's a
the
great
rules
game.
immediately.
Can you
but it
can't
is a
play,
good game.
But you can't play 3 players, can you?
You can play 3.
Oh,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
can. Oh.
Yep. You're out, Ryan.
Party
Man,
foul.
I messed up. So,
Isaac
man.
and I are winning.
Yep. Yeah. You're out. You're out.
This is a competition, right?
Oh, everything is a competition.
Oh, cool.
Oh, man, I think I messed up. So.
I'm going to go with what I think is probably the classic 2-player, easy to grab, easy to play, easy to do horrible at score-wise, Patchwork, and every variation under the sun that exists of Patchwork.
Halloween version.
Oh my gosh. I saw somebody, I can't remember who had the TikTok up this last week, but she saw like a Patchwork on eBay of like every version, was like, do I buy it? Do I not? Yes. Yeah. It's like, oh man, I got this version and the roll and write one, which is not that great. And that's enough.
Yeah.
But Patchwork for me is a great, let's sit down and play it together game.
Nice. They'll ask Santorini, do I use God powers? Actually, no, I'm not a big fan of the God powers. But yeah, I'm not a big the God powers. Some of them are just really overblown. So,
Ryan, that blows my mind.
So, do you only use God powers
every time?
Yeah, every time.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I think if I'm teaching it to someone that's brand new, we'll play without it first. But I'm always like, that second game we're gonna try them.
Jump into it.
I've played a handful of them, and I'm like just straight up as a game, trying to outwit your opponent. I just really like the base. Okay, cool.
That's fair. That's fair.
I feel like my pick of Santorini is a mess up. So
it is.
Yeah. Well, let's pretend that I didn't say Santorini and I said
Santorini is great.
It's a great pick. It's a great pick.
It's in my top 10.
You just didn't play along the rules like you're supposed to. So
yeah. So you should lose a turn, I think.
You mean you don't put all the buildings up there and you act like they're Legos? No.
You definitely can.
That's how my daughter plays it.
There we go.
All right, we're back to Mondo. Pick number 3. What do you got, sir? Oh, great game.
Lost Cities, which is also my favorite Reiner game. I think I've played this game on BGA in the thousands of times.
Wow.
On BGA, it takes 2 minutes, so it's like I could if I'm just killing 2 minutes, I'll
just flip through real quick.
Nice,
that's great.
Nice.
Man, we should do a Reiner day. One of these episodes.
Oh yeah, I would love
just our 5 favorite Reiner games.
Yeah, we've told Reiner what our top 5 of his games are to his face on a Skype call one time. So
Yeah,
that was fun.
That's a good one.
Yes. I mean, hearing him eviscerate Rick during a podcast is one of my favorite things I've ever experienced in life. Speaking of Reiner, Royal Visit. This is a go-to for me and my wife. We've played this one so many times. Tug and pull, like you're trying to like pull all the people in the court to your side, and like you've got to get the king to your side, and ultimately you want to have either the crown enter into your court, or you want to end the game with the king on your side using 8 cards at a time. It is really fun. Love the artwork and just the color choices for this one.
Yeah.
It's been re-implemented a couple times, but I think this is my favorite one. So from Yellow. So,
Never played it.
it's really
I tried that at I think it was PAX or maybe Origins, but I got the demo. I did like it. It's fun.
Yeah, that's real good. So
Ryan knows I have a list and I never stick with it. I've got like 10 games around me that I'm like, narrowing down in my head. But every version of every Gigamic 2-player game I enjoy. But I think this one's my favorite is Quarto. I love the thinkiness of this. My son beats the pants out of me on these thinky kind of games. But man, if him and I haven't played the heck out of this. We hit a board game cafe in Denver a handful of years back that had giant versions of every 2-player Gigamic game that somebody had designed. Nice. Like these pieces were like yay big.
That's really
you just
cool.
moved them all around. It had and I can't remember the one with the balls that you kind of stack up, and the balls were like the size of softballs. It was fun, and these are just great 2-player abstract. We're not attacking each other, right? We're just kind of racing to see who's going to win the game of chess or checkers or what have you. And I love the thought that goes into these abstract games.
It's really good. Chad has 2-player my top 5. My wife and I play the most: Lost Cities, Kahuna, Blockus Duo, Fjords, and Balloon Cup. I don't know Balloon Cup.
I don't know the last 2.
Yeah. And then
I feel like would be
close to the top 5. Aquiline, Shobu. Spirits of the Wild is one that is not. It's out of print, and it's sad because it's a really, really good game. I think, was it Mattel that made that one?
Yeah, I think it was a Target Mattel game. I think.
Yeah. It's one of those that, like, if you want to unload it right now, I think I saw people selling it for like $80. I'm like, it's a really fun game. So it's a great 2-player game.
Yeah, it's a good one.
So, number 4, Mondo.
Is it me?
Yep.
Yes, sir.
The anticipation.
Yeah.
Onitama. So good.
Great. Someone mentioned that in chat. Yeah, it's another one of those kind of chess style mono a mono games that I like some of the expansions also. But it's also fun for my daughter to play with the pieces like they're a little family. So
nice.
I love it.
I taught a friend of ours who's in her 70s. She wanted to learn a game, and taught her how to play this, and she caught right on, and she really enjoyed it. So she really liked the experience. She thought it was very pretty. So I think you guys are going to throw me off the show for this one. This is a 2 or 4-player game, but it's a 2-player game.
It's a 4-player,
right?
Like teams of 2 teams, right?
2 teams, which is 2, right?
Yeah, that one's closer. Okay. That one's closer.
Okay.
It's better than Santorini as far as
I feel like I failed at Santorini. I should have just put Onitama in there. But Sorcerer's Arena Epic Alliances, I was very surprised at how much I enjoyed this game. I actually got to experience playing the game with you, Isaac, at Origins, and I didn't think I had room in my life for another skirmish arena battle game outside of Unmatched and Dice Throne and what other ones do we have? We have other ones. But I was shocked. I really wanted this, and we really enjoy this one. So Aaron and I get very, very competitive when we play. So.
Yep. Yeah, it's fun. It was fun to learn. It's a good one. So I started going through like my competitive CCG world, right? Magic, even Dice Throne. But I went ahead and went with the one that got me into reviewing and previewing and doing this side of the game, and that's Dice Masters. And if you like custom dice Masters has become easy enough that you can just get a pack like this and you got everything you need to play the game. And before it had a bigger entry point, but I don't play it as much as I used to. I was obsessed beyond obsession with this, playing at the highest competitive levels when the game was highly competitive. And Dice Masters is a great. Hey, do you like superheroes? Do you like Dungeons and Dragons? Do you like Yu-Gi-Oh? How about you put them all on one team? And it's a fun dice chuck in. Yeah, my son and I used to play a ton when he was younger, and it's still got a special place for me. I didn't sell my stuff off. I still have tons of it. So many dice around this house. It's insane. But for me, Dice Masters is always going to be a great game to fit two people across the table from each other.
Yep. Yeah. So Adele asked, did you not make these rules? Yeah. So we talked about the fact that these were only 2-player games, but for some reason I completely blanked on the fact that you could play 3 players in Santorini. I thought it was a 2 or a 2 teams game only. And so,
Womp womp.
Womp womp.
Womp womp.
So last one, Mondo.
Number 5. I got to go with checkers.
Okay, just straight up checkers.
I'm kidding. That's a joke.
Just
it's
straight
Hive.
up checkers. Oh, Hive is awesome.
Oh yeah, super.
It's sitting right there.
Yep.
Hive
is. Why did I not pick Hive?
Great.
It is.
Yeah, it's in the same vein of that like abstract head-to-head 2-player game. So I feel like it's interesting enough to where you can get really good at it, or you can just enjoy it if you're not really good at it. I don't know, like there's enough variability in there to make it really interesting. So I like that one.
What's your favorite insect out of Hive?
So one of the expansion ones is the mosquito, which takes on the power of whatever it's touching.
Nice.
Which I like that. Of the base ones, I think is it the beetle? Is that what it's called? The purple one. The purple one that
on top.
It's on top of people.
Yep.
I love it and I hate it. I love it if I'm using it well, and I hate it if it's being used well against me.
That's true. Yeah, I like the ant because of the mobility.
Big fan of the ant.
So
do whatever you want with the ant.
Yep. My last one's gonna be Rift Force. This is one more time games, and I think Capstone also
Capstone does it now.
This one. Yeah, so Rift Force is a very interesting head-to-head game. Oh man, I have another 2-player game I wanted to show. I really botched this one with Santorini. Scratch Sand. Guys, we're gonna have to re-record. Let's go ahead and start. I'm sorry.
Just pause the live.
Can we pause the live stream? Crap. Rift Force. I was even thinking about this last night when we were talking about the topic. Forget it. Rift Force. This one's really fun. You've got this army of, I think, 3 or 4 different like superpowered monsters, and you're going head to head with this rift in the middle of the table made out of cards, and you're trying to occupy a piece of the rift and knock out your opponents at that location. So you're getting points for that. It's a really cool head-to-head battle game, and it's fun to, once you play 2 or 3 games, you start to realize, oh man, this water creature and this wind creature, and then I can get the tree creature, like they all just kind of play off of each other in really fun ways. And finding the way they synergize is part of the game. So
awesome. I just wanted to share that from my message from Brian earlier.
Yeah. That's me saying 2 players only. Yeah. Fully understanding the words. So
which is my 5th. Okay, so little bit of a throwback game. I don't even know when they last published this. It's got that Lego sound to it. Steve Jackson game. Castellan.
I had that game and I gave it to somebody.
This was one of the first, like, we got real crazy into Munchkin, as people do early on, and then I was like, what else do these guys make? And such a fun little, you're just building it's like the game you used to draw the squares and put your initial in the middle type of thing, but you can make different size castles. You could score bigger points based on what goes inside of them. It's a fun little push pull with 2 players. And again, it's got that Lego-y, aesthetic. You got the castle walls, you got the little castle pieces that just kind of slide in, and
Yeah.
It's great. Not one that gets out a ton anymore, but such a fun little back and forth for 2 players.
Nice. Very cool. So Adele asked what replaces Santorini. So I am going to replace Santorini. I'm going with Wizards of the Grimoire. That's a Kickstarter that fulfilled last year. It is it's a really good 2-player. If you like the feel of something like Magic, where you're using mana and you're trying to outdo your opponent. And you only have a certain number of slots. I think there's 5 or 6 slots that you have, and you've got these spell slots. Wizards of the Grimoire is a really, really good game, and limited because you're not trying to collect cards and buy booster packs and everything else, but it still has that head-to-head Magic feel that I used to enjoy when I was a teenager. So,
yes.
Isaac, how do we feel about him getting to replace Santorini on his list?
Yeah, I mean that's probably your one undo in this game.
Oh
I
man,
guess,
for the whole year. Golly, I used it up early too.
Yeah,
so.
It's February.
So. I know. I've got 8 months of no screw ups.
Yeah.
So we gotta be a stickler for the rules here. We're trying to win this thing.
Sure, that's true.
It's true.
So win the internet. So.
We usually like to end with what are you playing? So what's been hitting your table recently? What have you got to play? Maybe it's new to you or that you enjoy and you've just been playing a little bit. So Mondo, what's been hitting your table?
Yeah, I mean, as a designer, I do a lot of playtesting of my own designs.
Sure.
That's usually the brunt of my game nights. But I recently got to play Time of Empires, which, if y'all aren't familiar with that, it's a Civ building game that's all live action. So like it's worker placement, but your workers are sand timers. So everybody's taking turns simultaneously. There's no interruptions in the gameplay. You're just doing whatever you want to do to build your civilization. But you only have 2 sand timers. So when you put it down on an action space, you do the action. You can't use it to do another action until the timer runs out. Mm-hmm. So it's like a really interesting time management addition to like a worker placement Civ game. But it's all like app driven, and you have like 9-minute rounds, and it's just like really chaotic. But it was a ton of fun, and I'm really excited to get to play it again soon. So
that's cool. I gotta check that out. So Mike Young jumping in. Quick shout out to Mondo, my non-gamer wife organically found his TikTok channel. That's awesome. Great content, fun personality.
Awesome.
Excited for Colorfield. So,
thanks, Mike.
Yes,
that is really cool. So.
And Mike's wife.
So we've been playing Gift of Tulips from Weird Giraffe Games. I really enjoy the style of this game. I love the front cover art. I don't love the fact that the person who delivered it punched their finger right into the corner, and I've got a giant thumb hole right where the logo is. Not a big fan of that, but I do love the game. So it plays up to 6 players, and you're putting cards. You can gift cards, gift tulips to people at the table, or you can keep tulips for yourself, or you can put them in the display. It is a really fun game, and I love the reveal at the end when you have a secret. You have a secret stash of festival cards. You flip out, you shuffle them, and you flip out 5 of them, and it changes the market. And I love seeing the face of everybody as the market shifts in a way where I've loaded so many of the orange card in there, and it just boosts up the first, and I end up taking first place. It is my favorite look at the table when people are like, "Oh no, my blue tulips are scoring nothing," and I'm like, "Yes!" So
that has been me before. I have been that person.
So good. So
yeah, hate being that person.
My most that person.
Yeah, the one getting not points. Sorry to reach for mine. So mine is another Gigamic 2-player game. It's their newest one, Kawali. I don't know how these are. I'm sure I'm butchering it. But it is Kawale. It is a 4 in a row. So 4 in a row in diagonal, in straight, in this is the board. It's got kind of a depth to it, and then it's got these little things, kind of similar to shobu, or I guess not shobu because they're wooden pieces, and you're stacking them, and then once you place them in a spot, you're doing a Mancala type of move. So no matter whose you got, you pick them up, and then you're going and moving them around, trying to line up your 4 colors, and there's a neutral color that's stuck in the middle as well, but it allows you to kind of take that back and forth. And again, if you've got enough heads up strategy, you're probably going to win this. And
that's right.
It does look like tiny cookies. They do not taste like tiny cookies.
What's the board made out of? What's the material?
It's not wood. It's dense. It's like I guess it's like a pressed cardboard, but then on the top of it's like a plastic layer over the top. But you can kind of see it's got like a dense, it's
pretty cool,
thick cardboard underneath.
That's awesome.
And then it's hard. It's got a nice firmness to it, and those tiles have a nice clack.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Are you trying to do 4 in a row, or can you make a kind of
no? It's got to be.
Okay.
4. It's gonna be longitudinal, latitudinal, or horizontal, or diagonal.
Because that feels similar. Your description feels similar to TAC, because you're doing the same kind of thing there, like the Mancala, but that's more like you're trying to make a route. But
yeah, this one's cool. just 4 in a row. Yeah, and it's nice. Again, it's a 15-minute game. Plays quick, plays easy. You just set it on the table and have a good time, and it's pretty straightforward. So
yeah. It's cool.
Yeah, the tiles definitely feel wood, but the board has that the plasticky cover to it.
Yeah.
So that's another whole nother topic, right? What are these things made out of makes a huge difference in how they play.
So absolutely.
There was Daniel Zayas, who was working for Exploding Kittens. I'm not sure where he's at now, but he had an account on TikTok where he talked a lot about manufacturing stuff, and it was really interesting to hear kind of that conversation about the materials that go into it and how things are produced and molds and massive units of whatever meeple type thing. So that'd be really cool to. I mean, I'm as a designer, I'm interested in that stuff, but I wish I knew more about the way things are manufactured, because I feel like that could really factor into the games that you design. Is if you can design with that in mind, I think that would be a strength. So I'm always interested.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about Shobu. Shobu is a completely different game if it's just
cardboard circles,
cardboard or marbles in an inlay. That's a completely different game.
Feels different.
Yep. So Mondo, where can people find you on the internet?
So TikTok is where I hang out the most. Games by Mondo is the handle. No spaces. No. Yeah, there you go. It's on the screen. I am also on Twitter and YouTube and Instagram, and I need to pay more attention to those outlets, which I've been trying to do recently. So you can find me in all those places.
Nice.
But yeah, if you're not on TikTok, I gotta plug TikTok as a board game TikToker. It's a really cool community. It's been fun to participate in the board game TikTok community, because I feel like it's kind of this upstart thing that has been swelling and growing, and as it's growing, we're all kind of everybody knows each other, and I don't know, it's just very communal and feels really friendly and fun. So
that's awesome.
Get on TikTok if you're not on TikTok.
Awesome. And Mike says, let's chat. You got me on.
Mike, let's do it. Let's do it.
You can find our content at One Board Family all over the internet. Go to oneboardfamily.com to check out our color field preview, which will be up tomorrow morning. So we'll have our color field preview up along with a review later this week for Anno 1800, one of my favorite Martin Wallace games. And then also trying to get back into the swing of things on Friday Night Fight, our unmatched Friday night fighting thing. It's fun. It's just been hard to get back into the swing of it after 6 weeks off or whatever.
The reflection's bad.
Were you hanging that off your microphone?
Yeah, it's been a long day, Ryan.
Yeah.
We designed it so you can do that. So that's perfect.
Yeah,
little hanger.
use it when I play Fortnite.
right.
So where might we find you, Isaac? Well, you can find me at gamingwithsidekicks.com. And all of the socials, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, MySpace, and especially over at
Tumblr.
TikTok, which has become my bigger of my outlets. We started at Origins last year. Took a random video of people playing Hamster Roll that blew up. Right, this is the biggest video we've had, and then I've been chasing that squirrel ever since. And random stuff blows up. I've had some interesting conversations with different people on why things do what, right? And I can't tag it down, no one can, right? So I just I look at what the trends are, have fun. Like you said, I tagged Mondo in one recently. He did the board games here. What do you like about them? I was ranking them. I commented on what I liked about a few. We were real close.
You got really messed up with some of your options that you got. I think you got Munchkin like 3 times. I was like,
I have one recorded that I haven't even played because the audio got messed up, but I got 4 out of 5 were Zombicide. I was like, it was Zombicide, Munchkin, Zombicide. I was like, come on. I wish the audio would have worked for that. But it's our fastest growing area. A lot of we're pushing real close to 1,000. I'm getting real close. I'm really excited to hit 1,000. Do some live stuff. I'm like hoping I can do it the next 2 weeks so I could do live at Tantrum Con.
That'd be great.
So I'm aiming for. So if you're not following us over there, I need like 50 more people. So
follow them this way. You can see them live at Tantrum Con. We'll be there
with these 2 gentlemen.
Yeah, we'll be there. It's going to be fun. Right. We're going to have a great time. So
all the cool kids.
Yeah, all the cool kids. Tantrum Con this year.
And Derek.
Poor Derek. You guys pick on him mercilessly.
He deserves it.
Oh man,
I like Derek more than any of y'all. So that's
it's like, nah, I was paid to be on this show. We'll send you that $5, Mondo. Don't worry.
I'm just kidding. Perfect. I love you all equally.
So thanks so much for joining us. Thanks for hanging out with us at the game chat. And Mondo, thanks so much for coming by. We really appreciate it. So
appreciate it, brother.
All right,
it's fun. Thank y'all.
Yeah, have a good night, guys.